I wanted my 70s do back. What's up, everybody? How you doing? Well, you Rich, you there?
Yeah, hey Mitch, I look like your father in this avatar.
Let me see. Hey, Dad, what's up, man?
Grad.
Yeah. So Rich and I talked for about 4 seconds to prepare for this because we're very organized, and we got a lot of really good information. And what we figured we'd do is, Rich is going to talk for a little bit on how to pitch EXP, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about certain words that I use because words matter, and also how to talk to brokers as being a big broker that came over when I came over almost 3.5 years ago. So, Rich, why don't you go ahead and take it away?
Yeah, listen, I'm glad they made us follow Brent Gove and Dean Frederick and Elizabeth and all these fine folks, right? This is like excellent for us. So we're going to try to make this interesting. What I don't want to do is get into too deep of a dive, because I think where most of us are finding success with revenue share is by what our first experience is when we're trying it out. So when I learned about EXP back in 2017, I was looking at this thing and I was totally confused. It was just like, it was too much to unpack. I was drinking out of a fire hydrant instead of a garden hose. So I created sort of an analogy that works well for my team to try to explain this in conversational style. I'm kind of like Gene. I'm a notebook, a yellow pad and a marker type person. And I draw up a 3-lane highway. Lane 1 is selling real estate, just like we've always done, the reason why we're here talking. And we're at an 80-20 commission split. We have a $16,000 cap. We're one of the only companies I've ever heard of that you can earn that $16,000 cap by a milestone called Icon. We're 100% firm because we're not a franchise. So we never have any middlemen or other hands in the pockets. We have healthcare here discounted through a savings account that was 60% of what I was paying at Blue Cross Blue Shield. I enrolled in it. We have KV Core, which is lead generation and a CRM. We have the EXP world with 600 people sitting there waiting to answer your questions and provide support, 100 hours of education, a whole gamut of technology here that I'm happy to show you. We have an iBuyer set up. We have a Marketplace, which is our own Facebook, where you have 38,000 of us collaborating and giving each other referrals. And then we have marketing materials that have already been pre-selected and pre-made by more talented people than us. So you have 5,000 templates to use. This is all what we do in lane 1, which is sell real estate. This is the lane where you take all your chances. This is your speeding lane. This is the lane that we signed up for. This is to go as fast as we can and perform at our top level. Now, what separates EXP from other real estate companies is that we have a super highway. We have a lane 2. This is stock. We are an agent-owned company. We're all shareholders, hence the reason why we're giving each other our referrals and not outsourcing them. We have the ability to share a cap, to work in as many states as we want, all toward the same cap, but we're shareholders. It changes the way that we think. So we get stock on our first deal. We get stock when we cap, and we get stock when we expand our team and help them close their first transaction. We also have the ability to become an Icon agent, as mentioned on lane 1, where if we do 20 transactions or a gross commission income of north of $500,000, you get the $16,000 that you paid back and in stock. Very, very cool stuff here. You can outperform the model. And then lastly, we have an equity program where you can get the stock at a 10% discount. When the entire world is watching EXPI shoot from $2.87 3 years ago to $62 a couple weeks ago, most everybody would have said getting a 10% discount on that skyrocketing company would be advantageous. We get it here. So it's a very, very cool program. What I love about lane 2 is whether you're here for revenue share, you're here for selling, we all benefit from lane 2. So no matter what you're doing, trade in the trophies and the awards, we're going to get actual shares of stock at this company. And then lane 3 is the modern team, which we call revenue share. And EXP takes 50% of its gross revenue and gives it back to us as agents to expand the company organically. I mean, how cool is that? They take their 50% and pay all the bills. And then they give us 50% for just growing the company. So I came over with a team of 3. I'm not a YouTube sensation. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not a real estate coach. I'm not even the top producer in my town. And now I have 1,121 agents, and we're growing at almost 100 agents a month. So if I can do it, you can do it. And the best way, I think, to do it is just to come up with a simple. So lane 1, selling real estate. Lane 2, being a shareholder and an entrepreneur for once, which is very, very refreshing. And then lane 3 is this modern team called revenue share. I'm no longer restricted into pulling the highest talent pool that I can within my zip code. I can play anywhere in over 400 markets. I mean, Glenn just bought the IDX through Showcase to where we're going to be in every MLS there is. We have 8 countries that we can add agents. I have 115 estate agents in England that are level 2s for me. How cool is that? Because I knew the right level 1, you know? So we have the ability to just summarize this. This is a super highway. We have lane 1 for us technicians out there that love selling real estate, love being in the world, dealing with clients. We have lane 2, welcome to ownership. You no longer have to rent your career. And then lastly, we have lane 3, which is the expansion team, the new modern team that spans all over the map with no geographical boundary limits. Very cool stuff, you know? So anyway, I think just explaining that is an easier way to kind of encompass what we do as a company since it's so robust. In addition to that, I use a couple other analogies that make it easier. Like, for example, if we had to go check out the view at the Empire State Building, right? You could go walk up the staircase, that's fine. But if they had an escalator, I'm going to walk up the escalator. We're going to burn the same amount of calories, except I'm going to get up there much faster and have a better experience because the platform of EXP is lifting us, you know? So I just think kind of quantifying that is helpful. So just for the audience's purposes of not getting droned out by my tone and my style, I'm going to have Mitch share something, and then I'll hit one more point, and then he'll hit one more point, and we'll open it up to Q&A. By the way, I see some of the questions. I have a YouTube video that explains all of this. Just subscribe to my YouTube channel if you like to. Don't subscribe, I don't care. But the 3-lane highway is wrapped up in about a minute and 40-second EXP approved video. All yours, Mitch.
All righty, good stuff. I love the 3-way highway, lane highway. It's amazing stuff. Okay, so one of the things that I've learned, and I'm going to get into brokerages in a couple of minutes, but was the words that you say. I'm a big words guy, although I could barely speak English sometimes, but because I talk too fast, as you could probably all tell. I tell people it's a Boston thing, but I never use the word revenue share ever, and I never use the word recruit or even attract. I don't like either of them, and the reason being is because of the connotation of the people sit there and they hear revenue share, they immediately think network marketing, right? Or if you say recruit, obviously the first thing they say is I don't want to recruit. And again, I've never really liked the word attract, although that's what we do, right? So, and this is depending on who I'm talking to. I'm just talking about if I'm talking to a typical agent that wants to sell real estate. So the words I use are really simple. Instead of revenue share, I use referral fees. And instead of recruit, I use introduce. So here's my standard 2-second line. So if you introduce 2 people a year to the company over the next 3 years, and those people all introduce just one, you'll earn up to $36,000 a year in referral fees. Things that they're both used to. I grew my brokerage from 6 agents to 120 agents by agents introducing people to my company. And we paid them referral fees for that. Very simple stuff, right? So I use that all the time. Now, when I'm in my questioning, and Gene touched on this a lot, when I'm talking to somebody, my main goal is to ask questions to get information to help me know what part of EXP works. And I'll give you an example of that. I was talking with a guy that to me was just a regular agent. And yes, Courtney, I do speak fast. I'll repeat it. I was talking to a guy who I thought was a regular agent, but after talking to him for less than 5 minutes, I found out he was an entrepreneur. And when he's an entrepreneur, it goes into a whole different level of conversation. So just to repeat that, this is, by the way, me talking really slowly. I'm trying really hard to talk slow, but it's really bad. So I'll go back to that line I said really quickly. If you introduce 2 people a year to the company over the next 3 years, they introduce 1 each year, that's up to $36,000 a year in referral fees. Sense? So hopefully that was a little bit slower. Thanks, Craig, for posting that. So the other thing that I say, which I really like a lot, is, and I'll use Rich as my example. So Rich, just so you know, the most I'm going to make from you is $2,800 a year. It really doesn't change my life at all, but I will completely change your life. Really simple stuff. but very powerful stuff. So when you say that to someone, they look at you and they really get it. They go, when as a broker, I was trying to make 30, 40, $50,000 off of them. I needed them. I don't need anybody right now. I'm just really happy to say, look, I could change your life. Your money's not going to make a difference in my life, but I will completely change your life. So very important. I'm going to touch on brokers for a little bit. And I do a lot of calls for brokers, for agents that not necessarily my organization, but anybody's organization. And I'm glad to help anybody. Everybody, all the producers in the company, in the chapters have done, have used me to talk to brokers, because brokers talk a different language. Brokers will never tell you that they're broke. So the reason why I switched to brokerage over in 2017 was I didn't want, I was 55 years old. I know I look a lot younger on stage. But I was 55 years old, and I was looking at my life. My family all dies in their 50s. And when I did that, I said, what happens if I die today? What happens to my family? And the reality is, the broker, I never made real money. Made okay money, but I never made real money. A couple $100,000 a year at best, which I made more selling houses. And I said, if I die today, all of my agents scatter to some other place, and my family gets absolutely nothing. And even though I had a chance to sell the company for $3.5 million, and in fact, when I decided not to do that, KW offered me $600,000 cash. When I looked at the EXP model, I said, this is the only thing that I could think of that will give myself and my family something. So if something happens to me today, here I am 3.5 years later, about 900 agents. If I die today, my family's taken care of. With my granddaughter, which hope some of you guys saw last night on the concert, my singing granddaughter, she's got a rare disease. If something happens to her, I said the same thing. What happens to her? Because we didn't have the cash in the bank to take care of her. Now, because of the EXP stock, which has made all of us pretty wealthy, and and the revenue share, I don't worry about my family anymore. In fact, I do think my hair is actually growing back. So when you're talking to a broker, the most important thing I ask a broker when I talk to them is, what happens if something happens to you? And then I stop talking. It's a really important question, because we all think we're invincible until we start hitting our mid-40s and we start aches and pains. And again, I'll be 60 in January, and I'm like, all right, I've got this. I feel great. I'm in great shape. But literally, I could have a heart attack while I'm on the call with you here, God forbid, and everything's over. So I would say that's the biggest thing. The reality is most brokers will never tell you they're broke. I'll give you two quick stories on it, and then I'll turn it back over to Rich. I had met with a brokerage. Gene had asked one of his agents to ask me to go up to New Jersey and talk to a broker. 350 agents. Their net that year, this is last year, their net was $104,000. Now, unfortunately, he could not join because his $100,000 a month in overhead was actually, I think it was $150,000 a month, was fixed. He could not get rid of it for years because of the leases that he signed. Even when I came over, I had a $65,000 a month overhead. But I'm a business guy and a visionary, and I saw that. So here's a guy you would think is the most successful guy in the world, made $104,000. Up in that area, you sell 5 homes, you make $100,000. So another one was, I was talking to a broker a couple weeks ago, and I said, how's it going? She goes, it's great. My brokerage is doing really good. I said, well, how many agents do you have? She goes, 10. I go, so you have 3. She goes, no, I have 10. I go, no, you have 3. Because I know that all brokerages, or most of them, it's about a 30% of the agents that generate any revenue. In fact, in my brokerage, 34% did 92% of the business. So this broker, I said, well, why don't you send me your spreadsheet? And I can do an analysis to see if EXP makes sense for you. It may not. It doesn't make sense for every broker. If you're doing really, really well, it really doesn't make sense. So when I do that, I take out all of the her revenue, and as of this was October 1st, as of October 1st, from January to October 1st, from her agents, not from her cell, she had lost $7,500. And when we had our next talk and I showed that to her, she didn't have a clue. She thought she was making all this money, but all she was supporting all these agents that weren't making any money for her. So when you're talking to a broker, it's really good if somebody in your organization has been a broker, or if you want to reach out to me, God knows anybody can reach out to me about anything. I'm always going to help. This really important if you talk to a broker about it that you have the right conversation. Rich, why don't you go ahead and take over the next group?
Yeah, good call, Mitch. Bringing over a brokerage is the way to hit a home run versus singles. So I try to base everything on how to scale out a team here because I had no recruiting experience. And the irony is that I never went to Keller Williams. I think I'm the only one at this company that's never worked at KW. But anyway, I definitely wanted to scale out a real estate team. So I followed a rule called the 21% rule. I brought over 52 agents in 37 months. So I haven't set any records here. I'm probably the slowest horse in that first pack of the breakaway there. But what I decided to do was just make sure that all my agents were successful as they wanted to be. And I went after agents that had high ambition. So do the rule 21%. Any organization that if you have 21% of the people that are all in, chips all the way in, okay, they're going down with the ship, I think you're going to succeed. So I need to have 11 of my 52 agents that I have right now that are earning so much revenue share that they can't leave EXP. And I started to build out my level ones like this. I mean, you can't control who's going to come over in your level 6s and 7s. I think I'm somewhere on Brent and Gene's guideline where it still counts for revenue share, but at such an insignificant level. So we're going to help our groups despite anything. We're here to help all the time. Mitch and I have a weekly call where we connect, and we're not even in the same group just because I'm a Mitch fan. You know, we keep each other accountable. But the actual thing that you can control is the agents that you directly bring over to the company. So the way that I looked at it was, if we can make sure that we can change lives directly and help a smaller group of people succeed, we're going to be exactly where we need to be. And right now, I have 7 agents of the 52 that are making enough revenue share to where you couldn't pull them away with a forklift. I mean, we are all EXPers till the end. And my goal is to convert or find, whichever ends up being the case. I prefer to convert because they've already come over here and they want this, 4 more people to earn as much revenue share. So, you know, my top revenue share earners making, you know, about $25,000 a month, and my bottom of that 7 that I brought over is probably at $5,800, $6,000. And what we've noticed is that when you can get your agents and yourself at $5,000 or $6,000 a month, life gets much better. You're not buying Lamborghinis and vacation homes necessarily, but your anxiety level and your screen time on your cell phone go way, way down. So bringing 5 agents to the company and helping those 5 agents bring another agent over is very important, especially if you choose 5 productive agents. So, you know, Gene Frederick's $900,000 example that he does on a cocktail napkin or on a whiteboard is very, very cool because it shows you how easy it is to build an expansion team when you have a talent pool of 1.4 million realtors in the United States versus, you know, socking away $900,000 in 2007, 8, 9, almost impossible, right? So I think, you know, there's 2 different kinds of presenters in the world. There's presenters that present an exception or a dream of what they want their life to be. And there's presenters that show themselves as an example, and they present themselves as an example. So I think if you're going to do revenue share, you have to participate in it and lead by example. So there's a lot of tools and a lot of YouTube videos and a lot of training and a lot of accessibility that we have to many of the people that would be on Mount Rushmore of this company. You just heard from a couple of them. But I think that you have to make this work in your own words at your own comfort level. So some of the ways that I was able to get conversations started is first of all, I never went after an agent who didn't intimidate me. I wanted the best agents. I wanted the best agents in my area, and I wanted agents that would likely say no to me. And so this way, every time we got a yes, you could get butterflies in your stomach and lose sleep over their onboarding, right? That's exactly where I wanted to put myself in that situation. So, and then in addition to that, what I would do is I'd start up a conversation. I'd say, hey, listen, you know, we do similar volume and we're sort of in a different platform. You're, you know, pretty much renting your career for the next 20 years like I did for the last 20. And I'm getting a little bit of equity in something a lot larger. And I think that if we collaborated together and kind of talk shop, we could probably filter through who's working at a company that's more centered to our personal success. So I'd love to hear about yours. Would you like to hear about mine? And you end up finding yourself oftentimes in a duel where they have a knife and you have a gun because we have so much of a better system here. And I think that if you can educate these folks and show them the tools, you can start building some dialogue. I'm certainly not going to reinvent the wheel. I have other trainings that I've done on how to do this with algorithms and acronyms and all the other stuff, but just activating yourself. The magic sauce of revenue share isn't that you come into this set to set the world on fire. I think when Jay Kinder came over was about the same month I came over, and I think his expectations of what he was going to do at EXP was far greater than what I was going to do. And I think EXP's leadership expectation of Jay was far greater than what I could do. So that really didn't bother me because I didn't expect to start off that way. What I did expect to do was succeed at a level that would impact my entire family's generational wealth. So I just kind of went at it one at a time. And I started to have conversations. The magic sauce is doing something every day. And one advantage I can give you that these other agents that are so much better at this than Mitch and I are, as we're students in the game, is that the better they do at revenue share, the less incentive there is to grind daily. So for all of you guys in the foxhole right now, like myself, that are you know taking the 3-point shots every day, we have an advantage. We're still hungry to build and hopefully land where they did, and I think that is a huge advantage. So if you just expose yourself to a little bit of pain tolerance and contact a few people, I would say I tell all my agents one person per day. I mean, that's pretty easy. At the end of the year, you're going to have 300 contacts. A broken clock is right twice a day. Trust me, I've been a perfect example of that. And you're going to land into unlocking 5 to 7 of the levels if you just do a year under that kind of basic boot camp. So I'm going to turn it back over to Mitch, and I think that we're probably got about 10 or 15 minutes of Q&A time, which I think is probably more important because we can speak to what you want to know versus what we're explaining up here.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I just got one more thing I want to talk about real quick. To those of you that sell a lot of homes or don't sell a lot of homes and want to sell more, one of the things about making extra money, and I don't care if it's $500, $1,000, $2,000 a month in rev share, when you do that, you sell more homes. So for my agents that have done well in this, they actually have done, they're selling more homes now because they're not worried about it. They're not thinking about how am I going to pay the car payment, how am I going to feed my kids, and all that stuff. So when you work at this, it's really important to understand the value of it and what it gives you, because it really gives you more stuff. And to touch on one thing that Rich said, it's really, when I first came on, I brought on a lot of people. I brought on 70 people so far. Now, I originally came over with 22. 18. My other 18 agents went under. No, I'm sorry. I came over with 18, and the other 22 came under my general manager. And so I've added, another, what is that, 52 people since then. However, I've only got 43 active right now. So that means I've lost almost 30 people. And the reason why is because I didn't spend the time talking to people I should be talking to. I spent the time with the ones that I thought would be easier. And this is going to what Rich's point about talking to the hardest people. So I brought on agents that were new. I brought on agents that were barely making it. And what happens? Well, we know that 86% of new agents don't make it in this business. So a lot of them go away, right? A lot of them leave. Most of them, I would say probably 80%, I don't check every day because I have better things to do, but I would venture 80%, if not more, have already have left the business already. Actually, I know that's true. It's probably more than that. So when you're talking to people, you want to bring on people that will get here and stay here. and be productive and be part of what we do and buy into the systems. And, it's very important that when people come in, they, look at you guys, we have 622 people sitting here in this class. How cool is that? I think we had almost 600 people last night when we were playing. We get people involved. So when you do introduce somebody to the company, number one thing I've heard from agents, because I've brought on agents that have left the company that have now come back. It's one of my favorite sources of people to talk to. And the number one reason they left was they said their sponsor brought them over and then deserted them. And when you desert people, they feel left alone. When they feel left alone, they leave. So it's important if you're going to introduce your company. I'm not telling you to do EXP's job for them, but you really want to do enough to help them get over. Every person that we bring over in my group here locally, I sit down with them for an hour and we have a business planning event or conversation. Pat sits down with them and goes through all the admin stuff. So when they're onboarded, they know they have people to go to. So it's really important. So I think with that, Rich, want to open up for questions. Any questions for anybody?
Yeah, let's rock and roll.
All right, recently joined
Okay,
EXP.
Mitch, who's your sponsor?
Okay, that's a really good question. So my sponsor is Howard Fritz. I don't know if Howard's in here. And it's a great example of how that could change your life. So, and I don't mean this in an egotistical way, and I hope you don't take it that way, but Howard has five FQLAs under him, 10 total. Then he has me, which has 870 or so. So Howard's about to hit 900 agents, right? And what a difference that is in Howard's life now. And I'm not going to tell you his revenue share. If you want to know that, ask him that. But when I met him, he was making about $300 a month. And he makes a lot more than that now. And so you can bring on one person. And I'll give you another example in my story. Pete Middleton's one of my guys. Pete is 550 of my 860 or 870. Right? I mean, you bring on the right person. How cool is that? That's what happens. That's how life-changing things. Pete has literally changed my family's life. And part of the reason that is Pete's why, this is really cool. I love this about Pete because we're very good friends. He said his why is making sure that I got to 1,000 people to make sure that Lola, my granddaughter, was taken care of. I mean, how awesome is that? And I mean, now the friends that I love. I mean, I love Pete. I love all my business partners. I'm friends with all these people that I've known for years. Jeff and Renee Funk, and they're my best friends. We love each other. And now we're in business together. So bring on the right people.
Good call, Mitch, on that. One thing I love about the way that Mitch does things is that he has a personal relationship with everybody that he's doing business with. And I think that's where the credibility and respect comes through. All right, so let me answer a couple of these here that are coming in as we go. How do you attract agents that are on vacation? Oh, that's the easiest one, I think. So what you do is you tell them, hey, tell me if your vacation looked like mine. You decided to go away because you were burnt out. You talked to whoever you're going away with and you got excited. You made the trip. You went on Expedia. You didn't go see a travel agent, right? Of course not. And then you got your stuff packed. And right when you were packing your bags, your phone blew up and you got as busy as you ever did in your entire life. And you spent the entire time on vacation, stressed out on your iPhone with whoever you attended the vacation with, rolling their eyes, right? Well, that's what your vacation looks like. My vacation doesn't look like that. When you get back, I'll show you how to have a vacation that I have, which is 600 people in the world helping support my business, residual income so I can exercise the word no occasionally in this business. I know we're not good at saying no as a group. So I think you could play with that quite a bit. Do you look for experienced agents? My answer on that is yes. I don't turn down new agents, but I will stack them under other people if I don't think they're coachable. So they have to show me something, and then I will give you my time. And as far as going out on the hunt for agents, yes, I want agents that are doing business, because now we only have one obstacle to overcome, which is do your business on this platform versus let me teach you how to do the business and then you do your business on this platform. That's my opinion. I know a lot of people disagree on that, but
right. I agree 100%. Again, we're looking for people that, and by the way, this is a Rob Flick line. We're looking for people that are looking for us. And those are the people that stay here forever. They're looking for something better for their families. And I find that people, the time I want to put in energy I want to put into somebody is someone that wants more. And I built my entire brokerage on new agents. And I probably went through 500 agents to get 50 good ones. Hence why when I started with EXP, I kept that same model going, and it took me 70 to get to 43 that are active, but only 24 FQLAs. About 30% of agents are, just like I said earlier, 30% of my agents are producers. How do you talk to an agent that produces 3 times more than you do? Have you ever listed a house that's big? Have you ever listed a house that's more than you usually do? It's the same way. I mean, everybody puts their pants on the same way. I don't get intimidated by anybody, whether they're, whether they're anything. But the key, and I'll talk about this real quick, you got to follow the system. And I'm sure Brent talked about it. I'm sure Gene talked about it. Send them the video. If you're new with us, it's even easier. Hey, I know this probably isn't for you, but I really respect you. You're one of the most successful realtors around, and I really would love your opinion. If you wouldn't mind helping me out, give me opinion. Give me poke some holes in this for me, and let me what you don't like. Things like that are how you talk to anybody that's bigger than you. Compliment people. You are an amazing realtor. I'm just blown away by how good you are, and I'd really love your opinion on this what I did, and I joined this company. I just love your opinion because I want to make sure I made the right move. Right? Lean on your upline, as I think Renee said in there. People like myself, my entire job is to help you. That's what I do all day long. I help my agents, and I help anybody, as again, many of you out there probably know. So lean on us, but always, the video, and I'd love to answer those questions, but I don't really know all the answers. Let me introduce you to Mitch. Mitch is the top guys in the company, and he can really, bring it home for you so you understand everything. And then people like myself, people like Rich, people like Gene, all these guys, we all know how to ask the right questions to bring those people over.
Absolutely. So one of the questions was, how do you bring over brokerages? I mean, so just think about this for a second. When COVID happened in March, I didn't have to go sign up for the payroll protection plan. I have no payroll. I have no brick and mortar. I have no liability as a broker in charge. I can scale and grow my team anywhere in 8 countries. I don't have to answer all the questions. I don't have to provide all of the support. Nothing's exclusively on me. I have the ability to have tools and technology that you can't have. We've been able to solve attrition issues that indies have. Most independent brokerage owners are selling real estate. They're working in the business, not on the business. All of those things were omitted the second that I signed up to eXp Realty. Would you rather have 3% listing commission on 20 houses, or would you rather have 1% on 2,000 homes? Especially if the 2,000 homes could be anywhere, not just in your selling area. I think that you got to think about that stuff. The other thing I think that's important, I saw somebody posted on the chat box when we were up here initially, is that they were 58 years old, because Mitch was saying that all his family dies in his 50s. Mitch is 59, so he's a year away from sealing that fate. I hope you're eating something like raw vegetables right now. But
I drink good vodka.
Yeah, that'll keep you, the Russians, so that'll keep you alive forever. So one of the things that works really good is that the average, according to the NAR, the average real estate agent's 58 years old. That means that there's not a very sophisticated end game in sight, right? If you don't go in the Red Bull and the average employee is 58 years old, it doesn't work that way. This is a second, third, fifth career for many. For some like me, I didn't realize that you had to maintain a certain GPA in college, so it's the only thing I've ever done. So I got the boot out of school and I went right into real estate. And when you're 58 years old selling real estate, you can retire out of it if you work on the end game right now. It's not an or anymore, it's an and. We had a good transaction. You were brutal to negotiate against. If I had to list my house for sale and I wasn't going to list it with myself, I'd probably list it with you. I think that we would be much better on the same team versus constantly out there in the battlefield working against each other. What kind of equity is your company giving you to perform so well? If your company had a record month like Facebook said last month, how much did they give back to you? Is your company giving you all this business? No, you're doing it? Well, that's interesting. So this seems more like a unilateral relationship. So we have all kinds of different ways to engage and enter conversation. And I think that we can play with this. Mitch and I'm going to invite Mitch. I'll do it right here on stage. This is a proposal. I'm not getting down on a knee because I don't know what key that is. But I just hooked up with Hank, who's awesome. And I was gonna hook up with Mitch, but he's been too busy providing a really cool program for EXP that he's gonna launch with Jason Guessing here. But we do a weekly webinar where all you have to do is invite somebody and come to our webinar. And if I can court Mitch into to speaking in it and participating in it, we're averaging just under 100. We've got live calls. You guys can join us on those calls. I don't care if you're in our group or not. We're all shareholders here. And it's Wednesday at 10 a.m. If you send me a work chat, I'll send you back the flyer. And we can just do some of the lifting for you to where all you have to do is become a professional inviter. And that's much easier to duplicate in your revenue share organization if everybody can just invite people to learn more. Somebody said I broke up. We get about 80 agents a week. Okay, I think they're calling us off here, Maria.
Is that what that was?
She just walked across the stage. It's like awesome.
Yeah, and so and that's great, Rich. And I actually talked to Hank a little while ago, and so I'm definitely in.
Oh, good.
Yeah, definitely in. Yeah, we've I just this past couple of weeks with the stuff I'm working on for EXP's been a little crazy. Anyways, any other questions?
Presentations on a Zoom call. Just work chat me. My name is right above my avatar, and I'll send you the flyer. And we're gonna steal Mitch and have him help co-host. This is a rising tide lifts all boats, guys. So just invite them on the call. We'll do the lifting at the end of every call. We send everybody back to who invited them. And if you guys want more information, you can work chat both of us. We're happy to provide anything that we've learned along the way. We don't know everything. So.
And one more thing I do want to touch on real quick before we hang up, because I think it's important. It's a conversation I've had with several people lately. Sometimes people are saying, well, I want to be in this line or that line or whatever line. I will tell you that all of us who are working hard right now, you heard my Boston accent there, all of us that are working hard right now, building our organizations, we all help each other. Not a you and us and I anymore, it's a we. The days of this one gets better stuff, we're all sharing everything right now, so we all have it. So anytime you're talking to somebody, we all share the same stuff. I've been on the phone with Gene, I've been on the phone with Jay Kinder. We're all on the phone with each other, talking to each other, and how do we best help everybody become stronger. As Rich said, the whole rising tide thing, we are really working hard to try to help everybody in our company get a piece of the action, because it's all there for you. Anybody can do this. This is not like anything special. I just talk to people and I help people. Gene said it last class, action, action, action. If you do not take action, you get nothing. You have to take action. Action. Yeah. Anyways, thanks very much, Rick. Always awesome to be on stage with you, bud.
Thank you, Mitch. Same here, man. Hope to see you in that same gear when I talk to you Monday.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep this for a while. I kind of like the new look.
I'm sure your wife loves it. All right, talk to you guys soon. Thanks for having us.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Thanks, Renee.